Okay, hello and welcome to my phonics-based lesson plan surrounding the word S and how it can turn into the letter Z sometimes, depending on the ending of the word in front of it. So this hits curriculum expectations B2.1, which is use understanding of the sound structure of spoken words to orally isolate, blend, and segment phonemes from simple structures with two phonemes to structures with more phonemes. Learning objectives are that students will be able to identify when the S sound turns into a Z sound in spoken and written words. Example is or cats. Add S to the end of short words to decode and identify the Z sound. Apply phonics knowledge to spell, say, and write the SZ sound. And this is some of the materials you'll need. So for the purpose of this assignment, I'm just going to be doing it on Microsoft Paint, but in a real lesson, I would definitely want to have all of these items available just because it would make things a little bit easier to showcase, especially in a group of 20, 30 kids, make it a lot easier. So some of the things would be an anchor chart with keywords, a chart with words families containing the SZ sound, a chart with word family containing words that when S is added to the end becomes the Z sound, a whiteboard with markers, and the decodable text. So the learning sequence is as follows. We have a bit of an intro for 5 minutes, teacher modeling for 5 minutes, guided practice for 10 minutes, and application for 10 minutes. This video will not be 30 minutes, but we'll get the gist of all of this stuff here in the time that we spend together here. So we're going to go over to Microsoft Paint, and I've done a little bit of the lesson plan here. So we have our word bank. We got some words here. Cats, pins, legs, as, and is. So that would be the introduction with the anchor chart with keywords. The first 5 minutes, you could have your students practice saying these words out loud, because for our young ones, they might actually have difficulty saying this, and really emphasize the z sound at the end. So cats, for example, isn't just cats. It's you really got to emphasize the z, the cats. And this happens when you add an S to the end of any word, really. It changes the S sound to more of a Z sound, which can be kind of confusing for kids. So for the intro of the 5 minutes, you'd want to have them just emphasize saying these words. The next 5 minutes would be teacher modeling, which would be using word family use. You can demonstrate how CVC words can be changed to add SC to the end, such as cat to cats, fin to fins, or leg to legs. So for this one, I came up with some words here as well. We've got dog, which when add S at the end becomes dogs. Bat, which when adding S at the end turns into bats. Or snow, when adding S on the end turns into snows. So ideally, you'd want to have, using a whiteboard, have students create a CVC word that when S is added onto the end produces the SZ sound. And there's tons and tons of words, 3-letter words that if you add S can turn into Z sound. At this level, the expectation is that kids can have a bit of vocabulary for these CVC words as they've hopefully been learning them for the years or 2 years before this. And then you can have them work in pairs with students creating and illustrating a prompt using one or more Z sounds. So I went ahead, made a couple prompts here. For example, this one, Tom has 4 legs. Here's Tom. He has 4 legs. Or this one, Tom runs with his cats. This is a cat, believe it or not, and this is some little descriptive adding movement to this picture. So kids can be kind of creative and come up with their own prompts and draw their own prompts. Should take about 10 minutes for all of this. And then the application portion, which is handing out printed sheets with the decodable text and asking students to underline and circle all the SC sounds on the decodable text. So I created right here just a bit of a decodable text. And we can go through this together by highlighting or circling all the SZ sounds on the decodable text. So I'm going to be underlining. So we're going to go just really slow. We got Tim and Meg got dogs. So here's one right here. Found it. The dogs, another one, can fit on the bed, said Tim. The dogs, another one, can sit on top of the cot, said Meg. Tim pets. There's another one. Pets the dog. The dogs. Meg pets the dogs. And then finally, the dogs nap. So hopefully at the end of that, you would go around, you would hand out, or after handing out all those sheets and giving them some time to do it, you would collect them just to see as a bit of assessment, just to see how they're doing in terms of understanding the SZ sound here. So this lesson plan is good. Has all three methods of assessments. So it has assessment for learning, assessment of learning, and assessment as learning. So having students, or for assessment for learning, for example, collecting the whiteboards for accuracy and spelling will give you a good idea about how well they're grasping the content you just taught. Collect the quotable text handouts to evaluate whether students can identify words with the SZ sound. So that's another important thing to look out for if this lesson plan is successful. Most of your students should be able to identify this sound here. And collect illustrations and assess for use of the SZ sound in a short phrase. So this would be checking whether they can create a short phrase and illustrate it with that it contains an S.Z sound. Assessment of learning. So you could check whiteboards for successful identification of words, which when an S is added to the end produces the SZ sound. So this is relying on their background knowledge to create words that they know, or well, not create words that they know, but use words that they know rather, and add the S.Z sound to create a new word. And then finally, assessment as learning. So have students self-correct their chosen words for the SZ sound. So this would be a good way for students who are maybe not getting it as well, like struggling with it more so. You can have them self-correct, so this way that they can kind of see what their mistakes are and learn from it, hopefully. There's some UDL connections. There's multiple means of representation. There's word families, oral repetition, creating illustration. There's multiple means of engagement, decodable story connection, or cooperative learning, so you can have them do this stuff in pairs. There's a story connection, which is cool. Multiple means of expression, which is written word blending and identifying sounds in text. And so I wrote a little bit of an explanation for it. So in phonics, and this is for the younger grades, phonics is an important skill for kids to learn really early on in their lives. And if you go into a kindergarten grade 1 class, even, you'll definitely see them be doing a lot of things with phonics. So for this assignment, I wanted to create a lesson plan which advances graphophonemic understandings in children by teaching how the letter S, when blended into the ending of CVC words such as cat, dog, leg, whatever, creates a Z sound. And this Z sound may seem counterintuitive when reading the words out phonemically, as the normal S sound found in words like sip, spin, or staple changes into a Z sound when added to the end of a CVC word. Identifying this S.Z sound is important not just for decoding, but is also an important building block for when students go on to learn about how the letter S at the end of a noun also creates a plural word. This is a big concept, plural word, which is maybe too advanced for the kids that this would be taught to, but this lesson would be very supplementary to teaching them examples of like what plural words are and what they mean. I don't think students at this age are ready yet to understand how words can be changed into plural words. However, the focus of this lesson plan is foundational to this more advanced concept, as it is give students the knowledge to write and pronounce words that they may not yet understand to be plural, such as dogs or cats. So yes, this lesson plan really just goes to the building blocks, the word dogs, what it sounds like, and from that knowledge you can maybe teach them about what plural words are. It relates to Scarborough's reading rope. It helps learning comprehension and also word recognition, which is great. And just an overall good lesson plan to teach any maybe grade 1 or JK or SK children to be able to produce the SZ sound in phonics. So thank you so much for listening to my lesson plan. I hope you have a wonderful day.